Alright, so this is our writing for the day and for the week. So our first thing to do is we have to read this article on board games. But I'm going to read our question to see what it is I'm going to be thinking about as I read through it. So we have this article to read. It says read the article a second time and annotate it. Then it says after reading and annotating the article, form an opinion about which board game from the article is the best. So we're thinking about which board game from the article is the best. And then it says we're going to write 1 to 3 paragraphs. So we're reading this article, think about which board game is the best, and then writing 1 to 3 paragraphs to support our opinion. So we're going to click on this link, which will take us to our article. And our article is called The 5 Best Board Games to Play in Coronavirus Quarantine. It seems like we may be staying home for a while. The coronavirus continues to spread across the globe. The coronavirus is a flu-like illness that began in China. It has been spreading around the world since December 2019. To help slow down the spread of the virus, many schools and workplaces are closing down. People are being told to work from home and attend school from home. Social distancing is when you stay away from other groups of people to prevent the spread of illness. So it's telling us we're staying home so that we can stop the coronavirus from spreading and getting other people sick. Our next paragraph says, kids are staying home from school and parents are working from home. Keeping ourselves entertained from our living rooms will become a necessity. However, there are plenty of things to do at home, like watching heartwarming TV or doing exercise. However, board games are the perfect activity to involve the whole family. So this is setting up the rest of the paper right here. It's saying board games are the perfect activity to involve the whole family. So that's what this next page is going to be about. Clue and Life are the more common board games. However, there's an amazing world of other board games out there. You may already own some of them. Others you could responsibly buy to keep yourselves busy during these difficult times. We just recommend you stay away from Pandemic the Game, which is about the spread of disease. It normally is very fun, but probably isn't the best choice right now. So here we see 5 different games, 1, 2, 3, 4, and down here is 5. Before we read them, I'm just going to show you guys what they look like so you have an idea. If you want something to play with the kids, we have Tesselstrations. So this is what that game looks like. And what do you notice about the picture of it? Well, you notice it looks like it's kind of a drawing game. So you see some people drawing over here, and then it says guess it, so we have an idea about it. So let's read about Tesselstrations. Is like a combination of the whisper game Telephone and Pictionary. Players draw a word and pass their sketch to the player on the next. The second player writes down the word they think the first player drew. Then the third player draws the word and the second player guessed. The game continues this way until the final drawing or description comes out wildly different than what everyone started with. Game number 2. If you want something cute, quick, and wordy, Bananagrams. So let's look at what Bananagrams looks like. But I'll notice the base word there is banana. So it probably is going to have something to do with a banana. And look, you'll notice this one, there's a banana, and then there's some words that looks like are inside of it. So now let's check out what it says about Bananagrams. If Scramble isn't interesting to you, this fruit-themed word-building game is a great alternative. Everyone tries to use small letter tiles to build word grids faster than everyone else. The tiles come in a fabric banana. The game never disappoints. Our next one, if you're dipping your toes into complex or difficult board games, this is called Catan. So this is the one that I actually grew up. It was my first board game that I really loved besides the board game chess. So you'll notice here, you have some kind of world, and there's numbers on it, and there's different habitats or different pictures on those different hexagons. So let's read about Catan. Catan is a slightly more involved game than Risk or Monopoly. The game is previously known as Settlers of Catan or Settlers, and became very popular with board game fans and others. Players become settlers have to build individual settlements while trading resources. The bigger your settlement, the more points you get. The first player to reach a set number of points wins. The game also has many expansions available if you get bored with the original. Our next one, this is one I hadn't have heard of till reading this article. So if you love fantasy TV and film, it's called Lords of Waterdeep. So this is what Lords of Waterdeep look like. So you'll see there's a board game. It looks like there's little pieces, cards, these little squares. So now let's see what Lords of Waterdeep is. This board game is from the makers of Dungeons & Dragons. It is definitely more complex, but is one of the most rewarding games once you understand all the rules. Waterdeep is a beautifully designed fantasy worker placement game. Players use agents to gather resources to complete quests. Players earn victory points when they complete a quest. Whoever has the most victory points at the end of the game wins. And our last one, Ticket to Ride. If you like strategy games but not a fantasy aesthetic. So this word aesthetic means a feel or a look. So if you like strategy games but you don't really want to do a fantasy one, this is what Ticket to Ride looks like. This is a game that a lot of people play and is based on trains. So these little colors are actually trains. So let's read about it. Fantasy and science fiction games aren't for everyone. Even though it seems like strategy games are swords and sorcery themed, there are plenty that aren't. Ticket to Ride is an easy to understand game about trains. Players earn trains by collecting cards of the same color. They then use those trains to create train routes across a map of the United States. Players win more points by having bigger train routes. They can also win points by building their routes shown on the secret ticket cards you draw at the beginning of the game. The game also has expansion packs with extra maps to choose from. So now we've read this and we're thinking, which one do we want to write about? You could write about any, but I'm going to be writing about Ticket to Ride for mine. So that's what our example is going to be, but you can write about any. So now the school district gave us these funky things called Oreos to fill out for our graphic organizer. And I filled them with some sentence frames to get you started, except for paragraph 3. That one is if you wanted to try it by yourself. Now it says plan 1 to 3 paragraphs. We're going to keep our organizer because we're going to use it next week. So we're just planning these paragraphs. We are not actually making the paragraphs yet. We're just filling in those sections. So you'll look, each section has 4 sentences. 1, 2, 3, 4. So each paragraph will have 4 sections. Now this is going to be hard with 3 paragraphs because you'll notice our Ticket to Ride explanation was only 1 paragraph long. So if you only get 1 paragraph, that is okay. If you get more than 1 paragraph, excellent. So I'm going to use this sentence frame. In my opinion, the best board game is Ticket to Ride. And then I'm going to delete all that extra line space. It is the best because, and now I think, why did I think it's the best one? I've never played it, so I'm going just off of that description. What my opinion is, it is the best because you have to travel on a train to get to your destination. And then I'm going to use this next part. Normally don't start with a sentence with and, but I want to make a point. And trains are my favorite way to travel. And then we go back, delete all of those extra underlines that we don't need, spell check. And then an example is, so I'm talking about traveling on a train, so what's an example for traveling on a train? So an example is, I can travel, or you can travel, either one would work, from, and I'm going to kind of cheat because we looked at our pictures, and so I'm going to refer back to that picture because that picture does help me get a sense of what's going on. And I see right here, I see Las Vegas and Salt Lake City. So I'm going to put those two because it looks like I could travel from one to the other. And then this last part is just restating the first part. So we have our introduction, what's the best game? We have a reason, we have an example, and now we're restating. So I think Ticket to Ride is, oops, and I forgot I already put that in for a sentence, is the best because you get, and I don't want to use travel again, so I'm going to use something a little bit different. You get to travel to different places and figure out where they are on a map. Now see, this part is what I talked at the beginning. You get to travel. So I'm going to put this because it's kind of similar. You get to travel different places because you get to figure out where they are on a map. And instead of they, since I don't know what that they is, I have to be more specific. You get to figure out where different places are on a map. Now if that's all you got for yours, that is okay. I was able to stretch mine out for one more spot. So I'm going to put this here. Ticket to Ride is also the best board game because, and then I'll notice it said right at the very beginning when I was introducing it, says it's a strategy game. So that's what I like. So that's what I'm going to put in. It's also the best board game because it is a strategy game. And then delete and do that spell check with that right click. It is the best because, and why do I think that strategy is the best? So because strategizing helps you with your critical thinking. An example is I have to figure out, and this is our hard part because remember we didn't really get a whole bunch of information with this. So I have to figure out how to have the biggest train routes, and it also says secret ticket cards. So I'm going to put those two together. I have to figure out how to get the biggest train route and use secret ticket cards. And use my secret ticket cards. Now I'll notice this didn't pop up. I thought it would when I mistyped it, but it didn't. So I have to go back and check because that's not how he spells secret. Alright, so now we're just restating again. Ticket to Ride is the best because it involves critical thinking and planning. So remember, we're just planning right now. We're not actually writing those paragraphs because that's what we're going to do next week. If you have more to add for a third paragraph, excellent. I don't know how you get it from just one, but I'd be impressed to see. I will talk to you guys later.